Hi everyone, my name is PK and here I have Abhinav Malhotra or Abhi. He's a client of the Property Investment Accelerator and he's got now, or him and his family I should say, 8 properties in their portfolio. The total portfolio value right now is just over $6 million and the total loan on that is about 3.8 million. So more than 2 million of equities, bought 5 properties since he started the Property Investment Accelerator course last year, mid last year. He already had 3 properties before that, including his principal place of residence. And in this episode, we'll go through his journey of purchasing these 8 properties, his challenges, how he overcame those challenges, perhaps how he's been able to look beyond where he lives, which is in Brisbane, to invest in broader Queensland, broader WA. We'll get to his perhaps future plans of going and diversifying down into perhaps Victoria, New South Wales. We'll cover how he's bought multiple properties that yield between 8 and 9%. And these aren't like dodgy, small, trashy properties in the middle of nowhere. These are prime real estate, and how he's done renovations. He's really excelled in all facets, and I'm very proud of his achievements. So congratulations so much, Abhi, and of course, thank you for making time for this.
Thanks, PK. Thanks for having me here. It's always a pleasure and nice to be here talking to you.
No, thank you. I know it's not always comfortable talking in public about your financial achievements, but hopefully that this will educate and inspire a whole bunch of people. Welcome to the Oz Property Investment Mastery Podcast. My name's PK and I help busy people build passive income by buying top 5% growth and cash flow property and build a portfolio using data without wasting months doing research, spending weekends at inspection or catching flights, or dropping $10,000 to $20,000 on buyer's agents every single time. So if you're confused, lack confidence, and just overwhelmed with all the information and marketing misinformation available online and don't know where to start, then this show is for you. Perhaps we can just start at the start, because you actually had 3 properties before you did the course. So, I think they were all in Brisbane. One was a principal place of residence, a couple of investment properties. What drove you into the property investment world to begin with?
Well, you drove me into it. I'll have to be honest here. I was just randomly checking my Facebook one day, and all of a sudden I saw your post posting about some positively geared properties people are buying in obvious other states where they're sitting, mostly uh, east side Australian people buying mostly in Perth and Queensland, and they're achieving great results by buying 300, 400,000, 500,000 properties and getting way more rent than what I was thinking, like we couldn't even think of. So basically 6, 7, 8% yield properties. So that got me into it basically, and I started watching your YouTube videos, got a lot of um, confidence out of it, basically the knowledge from it. Um, and then I discussed with my wife that we should get into the course because we cannot just spend $500,000 sitting here without looking at the property physically interstate. And we basically agreed to do the course, and that was the best part. The only regret I have is I should have done it way earlier, because I was following your videos, like checking all the posts and stuff for a long time, about I think about 1.5 years or so. And I think that I should have done it earlier, so I could have got into action much earlier than we have. But as they say, it's never late for anything good. So um, yeah, we bought your course on 6th of July last year, just when the financial year started, and today we're sitting with 5 properties in the portfolio, 5 more properties other than 3 we had earlier.
Nice, nice. And so were those 3, apart from the principal place of residence, the other 2 that you had before the course in Brisbane, Why did you like, how did you go about buying them? Was it easy because 'cause you're also in Brisbane and you kind of knew the areas, or how did you select those suburbs and those properties?
So first property we bought in Bray Park that time back in 2016. Never had that investor mindset because and of course it was a primary place of residence for us that time. Um, we bought it and we obviously lived in there for about 4 years. The second investment we did was in 2017 in Kalanga, and that was purely because we heard that there's a university coming in the P3, and we just thought that the prices will go up. And Kalanga was sort of a suburb which had lower prices as compared to the nearby surrounding suburbs. So we invested there. It has done well. Um, and then after that, what happened is basically we bought house in Everton Park. It was an old house. The intention was to go closer to the city with better schools. Um, we demolished the house. We built a new one on it, and that's where we moved. And the first property, which was in Bray Park, which was our primary place of residence, has become our second investment. So that's how we did the first part before the course. Yeah.
Right. Right, right. And so did you and your wife decide to do the course with, like, an explicit goal to buy another 5 or 6 properties through the course? Like, is that the mindset that you had, or how I'm asking this question because, it's like it's a really big thing that you've done, and I shared with everyone your portfolio value and also your debt earlier. Of course, you've got $2 million of equity, your LVR is not very high, but there's
Yeah.
still millions of dollars of debt. So how did your family kind of embrace this idea of good debt, if you know what I mean?
Okay. So most of the debt we have in out of that 3.8 I told you, it's in the PPOR, but it's sort of offsetting it because the side business I run, um, that business offsets the interest I pay on my house. So basically, I'm not paying any interest on the PPOR value.
Right.
It's about 1.1 million because we actually drew 400,000 out of our PPOR, uh, and used it as the deposits for the five properties. Right, um, all of the properties we have bought, they have done 20% deposits in them. Um, so yeah, the good thing is that I'm not paying single dollar interest on the amount which is sitting on the PPOR. Uh,
Right.
yeah, so that's thing that is good, and obviously other investments we're also claiming in
Sure.
they're all positively geared properties.
Yeah, this was gonna be my next question. So all your investment properties, of which there's 7, overall, are they all positive? Because 'Cause you'd put down 20% deposit, so it's your entire portfolio excluding your principal place. It's not costing you anything?
No, no, nothing. It's not. There's yeah, absolutely. There's nothing going out of our pocket. It's positively geared. Obviously, because there's a loan sitting, so we're not getting a lot of money in our pocket, but at least they are paying off for themselves. The value is going up within next couple of years or 1 year. I don't know when the rate of interest goes down. The equations will look really good, and that's when we'll start getting more and more money in our pocket.
Yeah, and I just want everyone to connect with that point as well, because I think a lot of people may have their own mortgage, principal place of residence, and they're like, "How can other people like Abhi get like another 7 properties? Like, how are people affording these mortgages?" But even with these relatively higher interest rates, it's still entirely possible, as illustrated and demonstrated by you. Um, to have all these multiple mortgages basically pay for themselves through the rental income. So I think that's quite a feat. Um, on that topic, you've got multiple properties that are yielding between 7 or 8, or even maybe perhaps a little bit above 8%. It's not common that people are finding investors find such high yielding properties, even if they're looking in similar areas as you are. Um, how have you been able to do that?
Well, the goal was always to only look for the positively cared properties. The way we have done this is, we've always done some sort of renovations in the property when we've bought it. Um, our PM, so the selection of PM is a very important uh, perspective when you're buying a property. You need to have someone who is enthusiastic, who basically drives everything for you. Um, so our PM in W is really great. Um, he has his own team for the renovations and any additions to the property. So the ones we bought in WA, we have only one house we have converted from 3 by 1 to 4 by 2 by adding another bedroom, games room, and a bathroom. Um, Guess what? If I give you the numbers for that house, we bought it for 430, spent 52 grand on it. It was rented for 825 a week. So yeah, that's really good yield. Couple of other houses we did not that extensive renovations, but a little bit like doing the painting, getting new carpets in, uh, making it look more appealing from the street and from inside. Because take it as you're a tenant, you want to live in this house. So what makes you feel happy about the house? That sort of perspective.
Mm.
If you do those modifications, the house, spending a little bit of money on it gives you good rent. End of the day,
Right,
yeah.
right, and I think that's terrific because it's when we as investors are the people who solve a problem in a particular house, then we're rewarded for the value that we've added. And I think, a lot of people, they're afraid to buy properties that need some work done to them. In fact, if you go on realestate.com or Domain, you see something with like dodgy photos or there's like, like unsightly furniture inside. Sometimes investors can just swipe and go to the next property, but those are the properties that we can really capitalize on. And I really like your strategy of adding value, therefore increasing the valuation of the property, but of course also the rent. Just on that one where you made it from a, what was it, like a 3 bedroom, 1 bath to a 4 bedroom, 2 bath.
But
Um,
and there's
you
still potential to add a granite flat in the future.
Right. Okay. There you go. So you're based in Brisbane. This is in Perth. Of course, you've got properties in north of the river and south of the river now in Perth. Um, how have you, like, this is not just a cosmetic renovation. This is structural. You're actually adding walls. Did you go over there, or how did you build the confidence? Like, how were you able to do that from the other side of Australia?
But as I said, the hard part was done already, selecting the PM who has the right team. Uh, so whenever we were buying a house, I was always discussing with him that this is what we're buying or we want to buy. How much would we spend on it, and what rent would we get out of it? So basically, it's a number game. And if the numbers work, and PM being a local person there who has a intensive knowledge of the area, if he's confident for something, I've already gained the confidence. So to answer your question, basically how I'm getting the confidence is how I'm getting confidence, because if he can get those things done in that amount he has told me, and my numbers match, and my yield is 7-8% plus, I'm happy.
And is a property manager charging you to manage the renovation or anything like that beyond just the normal property management fees?
No, he's not charging me anything. So that's why I'm grateful for this, because if even if like take take the example of the property I was talking, 430, the amount of work he has done in $52,000, we have not untouched any part of the house. The floors were done, the kitchen was done, bathroom was done, tiles were done, painting was done, rooms were added, games room, bedroom, and bathroom. He's done it for $52,000. If I had to take a leave, 1 month leave from here to go to Perth, I wouldn't be able to do that myself.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. Just a big shout out to to him and all the other, I mean, not all property managers are like that, but all the terrific property managers, they allow us to buy interstate or remotely with complete confidence without needing a buyer's agent. But then they also provide this project management, program management type of service. It's just like, it's almost like too good to be true. It's like, why are you doing this? But of course, it's in their best interest as well, because now you're getting 8, 9% yield. They're obviously taking a clip of that.
Mhm.
It's a 10, 20, maybe 30-year relationship. They're making a lot of money. We're making a lot of money. It's like, happy days for everyone involved. You bought these 8 properties, of course, 7 investment properties. What have been, you've experienced it all. You've bought, off market, you've bought high yield, they've all gone up, really, really fast. Of course, they're really hot markets. What have been like your biggest regrets? Let's say, I don't know, I don't want to put you on the spot, but top 3 regrets that if you were to start your journey again, you'd be like, all right, I probably shouldn't have bought this, or maybe I probably should have, underpaid for that, or whatever those regrets are.
See, I think we have done really good. I cannot say any of these 7 properties that we have bought. I won't talk about the ones bought before your course, but at least these 5 properties after the course in this financial year, I don't think any of them um, we don't like, or I don't think we have overpaid for any of them. In fact, most of them were underpaid. The only regret I have is I should have done this course way earlier. So the equity we have made in this last 12 months, it would be much more had we started 2 years ago.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, best time to start is today, in terms of investment. I'm sure people in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, 4 years' time will be saying the same exact thing that you are, and they'll be sort of silently envious of you starting in 2023. Yeah, so I think it's all good from that perspective. You're a busy person. You, of course, you've got a family. I think you're a telecommunications engineer. You also have a side business. How have you been able to, this is no small feat, buying 5 investment properties in 1 financial year. How have you been able to juggle all that?
well, it's all about passion. We want to basically build a portfolio, as you've taught in course, that basically pays for itself. It doesn't cost you anything to hold. So with that sort of mindset, we are going ahead. Um, yeah, basically we want to have early retirement from work, spend more time with the family. Uh, if we want to work, we would work, but we do not have to work. So that sort of mindset I have, and with my family, I love traveling. My wife loves traveling, so we're already having a couple of international trips every year, and this is what we want to achieve more and more in life. Um, and basically, this is why we're doing the property investment, because this is basically, if you're doing the right investment, it's basically set and forget thing. And for that, knowledge is very important, which obviously you have provided us. So I'm grateful for that always, day and night. So yeah,
No, I mean, it's like I always say, it's not about, I think you're saying this, or maybe putting words in your mouth. It's not about time, but it's about drive. If you have enough drive for whatever it is in life, you'll find time. Sometimes I also say it's not about time, it's about taste. And if you enjoy doing something, you'll make time for it. Like every morning, I make time to watch like the football highlights of whoever played in Europe over the night. And it doesn't matter how busy I am that day, I'm gonna dedicate half an hour to watch my highlights because I really enjoy it. And I think that you're a really good example of someone who's, got a crisp goal, and is just making it happen, just taking like, big, big action. Is your plan to ultimately like buy even more properties and then sell a proportion of them and then use the profits to pay off the others that you don't sell, and thereby the passive income goes up? Or is your strategy to never sell and then use your business and job income to slowly pay off the properties? Or what's your ultimate exit strategy?
so the goal is basically to not to sell, uh, to just use the salary income and the business income, and buy more and more properties. Uh, we haven't thought how many in today's date. I think I want to buy more than 15 to 20, but obviously we cannot say if we will be able to do that. But if I want, I would definitely go up to that number. And down the track, if we need to sell 5 out of them and have 15 as solid investments, and they are paid off by selling those 5 little bit, if there's a little bit mortgage left on them, that's fine, not a problem. It can get paid off slowly. um, that's the goal. And the other thing is, I enjoy the process of buying properties. uh, so that sort of drives me to keep doing this again and again. So yeah.
Right, right. I can I just pick on your pick your brain on that a little bit because I think there's a temptation for a lot of people. Let's say they bought in Perth 2021, 2022, 2023. Fast forward to 25, 26, maybe 27, who knows, when the market starts to then cool, like every market ultimately has a correction. You know, they would have made 100% capital growth. In fact, some clients who bought in Perth in 21 have already made 90% capital growth. There's a temptation to like then take your gains, sell the property, and then reallocate those funds to another market, perhaps in a different city that is more at the bottom of its cycle. That's more of like an active strategy. And I know you just said that you enjoy the process of buying. I suppose, like, h does that run through your mind of, like, just cashing out, at the top of the market, buying somewhere else? Why do you just wanna never sell? Why do you wanna and there's no right or wrong answer here, I'm just trying to understand your mindset.
Yeah, don't want to sell is because we basically having these pillars to pay us in the future. So if we have more and more pillars, there's more rent coming out of them when they get paid off or after selling some properties. So to sell, timing is important in the market, but you cannot always time it perfectly. So if who knows how long the path is going to go for. If I sell one of them or two of them today, and if I'm not able to spend it on the right place, then what's the point? So the idea is not to sell, hold them, because especially in Australian real estate, if you hold the house or real estate for a long period, you can never go wrong. So, and then as I said, this is basically our future income because we want to retire early and spend more time for ourselves with our family. So idea is not to sell them and buy more and more because that will engage us more and more in this process.
Mhm.
So I would rather add more than selling and buy. No.
Right, right. No, I think different strokes for different folks, and I'm kind of with you, and I think everyone's different, has different financial limitations. But I know I shouldn't be emotionally attached, but I'm kind of emotionally attached to my properties right now because of what they do for you, right? They're like your golden geese, and you don't wanna sell or kill a goose that's laying golden eggs every day or every week or every month. I know people are gonna ask this, and they want to know, it's not everyone that can just go off and buy 8 properties, so, like, what's been your approach with borrowing capacity? And also if you're comfortable talking about it in terms of, like, entity structures. Have you bought, under any fancy entity structures, for any reason, or has it been quite plain and simple?
No, so the first 3 properties we bought before the course were on our own names. And after that, I think we still could buy more in our own names. But just as a asset protection perspective as well, we started buying it under the trust. So the all 5 properties bought this financial year are bought in the same trust. Uh, but I was just discussing with my broker. So the next ones we'll buy in another trust. Doesn't mean that we cannot borrow more in this particular trust because they're all heavily positively geared properties, and we do have provision to add granny flat in them. One of them already has a granny flat. The all other 4 properties can also have granny flat. So that's also a positive point that whenever, and it's a good lesson for everyone, buy properties with bigger land. Try and buy bigger land properties. So you down the track you can subdivide or you can add potential to it, have granny flats on it. So if the interest rate goes up, things have gone out of your hands. You have more rent coming from it, and that gives you more borrowing capacity as well. So that's the plan basically. To have another trust after these 5, and then who knows, maybe 5 more in another one, and then another 5 in another trust.
Okay. Fair enough. No, fair enough. And how long is it taking you? I mean, you're gonna have far more properties than I do, in the very near future. How long is it taking you to manage these properties? Because I know for myself, with 12, it sort of takes, maybe 2 or 3 hours a month, and so it's very manageable. Um, some months it's more, some months it's less. Thankfully, my wife is a CA, she does the tax side of things, so there's no, like, lumpy, stress at at tax time or anything like that. But with yours, you've got 8, you're gonna get another 5, hopefully another 5 after that. Is this turning into more of an active strategy, or is it is quite very much in the passive camp?
I would still say it's a passive, uh, but managing, I don't think there's too much to it. As long as, because see, we've done the renovations, right? So the rent is coming in now. So whenever we're about to hit our borrowing capacity again, we're gonna have to put the granny flats in the backyards. That will give us more rent, and of course, that will allow us to borrow more, and then we can buy more and more. Uh, with the investments already done and the rent coming in, it's more on the PMs because they pay all the bills. They pay the council bill, water bill, whatever, electricity is on the tenants anyway. Um, so I don't think I'm spending any time to do anything about them. Like I'm just checking the rent is coming correctly or not. Honestly,
Fair enough, fair enough. Do you buffer like maybe $10,000 or $15,000 or $5,000 per property per year in case there's some massive event that happens where you need to chip in, or how do you approach kind of worst case scenario or financial buffers?
well, with the buffers, no. I mean, we want them to be positively geared. So uh, if there's any investment we need to do, we will do. I mean, as I said, renovations were done at the start, so there's nothing more to spend unless there's something goes wrong with that. For example, like in the property, the Queensland, the one we bought in Queensland had a couple of air cons failures within this year, which is a bit uh, sort of not expected. So, but these are small things which happens. Down the track, I mean, if we have to spend some money to keep them going or to to make the tenants happy, there's no problem. Like cash flow is there. The problem is when the properties are negatively geared and you're already chipping in money from your pocket, plus some more expenses come in. That's when you kind of feel stuck. But because they were done well, so they're paying well.
I suppose you've done the hard work at the start because you've done the renovation, and so they're going to be very low maintenance, have a long runway before further work is required. And of course, because you can put a granny flat on them in the future, and I really encourage everyone, exactly like you said, just echoing what you're saying, try to buy properties that have granny flat potential, because the housing shortage in Australia is only becoming more and more acute. And I think, fast forward 10 years, all councils, all states, all territories will heavily, heavily, heavily encourage the building of auxiliary, ancillary dwellings like granny flats, and investors will be very much incentivized. And, that automatically, not automatically, but in a lot of instances, increases the rent by 50%, 40%, 30%, sometimes 60, 70% on basically on the same title. So that's a great exit strategy for when you want to retire and really you squeeze the towel, get more juice out of the same asset. But perhaps granny flat, I don't know if you agree with me, but granny flats at the start of your property acquisition phase are probably not the best idea, because they don't create value in the sense of equity. They create cash flow, but at the start, you want to create value, you want to create equity, because ultimately it's not the number of properties you have, but it's the portfolio of value that matters. So I think you and I are probably quite aligned on that, and you're going about it in the right way. If we zoom out, Abhi, for people, there's probably thousands that are gonna watch this or listen to this and are inspired by your sort of, accomplishments. What are 3 pieces of advice that you could give to, people? Like, just today, I got a phone call, just a random person who found me on LinkedIn, and they said, "Look, I've just got a promotion. My pay has gone from X to Y. I really wanna go off and be very aggressive, buy, 5 properties in the next 1 or 2 financial years." If someone has that determination, what's perhaps like your 3 biggest pieces of advice so that that determination can actually translate into action and fruit?
Yeah. So I would say first thing and the most important thing is the mindset. If you don't have the mindset in the right direction and what you want to achieve and what you want to do in future, nothing is possible. So with the right mindset, you need to have the right strategy as well. You need to have the right team around you, your broker, your PM, building and pest inspector. Everyone basically plays as a team. So when you have the right team, you have the right mindset, right strategy, and the right structure, I would say as well. Then nothing is impossible. I mean, anyone can do this. And by any chance, if you have some properties or any assets which are not giving you as much like potential out of it, consider selling it and then educate yourself and invest in the right areas that gives you better outcome basically. So anyone can start any day, I believe, and with the right direction, everything is achievable.
That's brilliant. I really love that mindset. And I just want to say as well, I think people who have this mindset that you do, Abhi, abundant mindset, they don't feel that they need to beg, borrow, or steal money, or that money or wealth is scarce, but rather they try to help each other as well. And you know, that's definitely the case with you. For everyone who's watching or listening, you know, Abhi's always trying to help other people. He came on, you know, we do weekly mentorship calls in the course community, and you know, very kind to come on and share the addresses, how we did it. You know, even more detailed than this episode for our client members. And you know, that's all selflessly done, and I think if you try to help others, you know, then that you kind of get that mindset that there's enough for everyone, and then you just need to take action. It's not, oh, I've missed out on 4 properties, why did the other person get it, they're making money, what about me? I think it's just this mindset shift that a lot of people need to make to truly get into that flow, if you know what I mean. But I just want to congratulate you again. You know, we met at the Gold Coast event, and you didn't have the last property, and you're really desperate to get it. And then I got that email from you, and you got it, and you're not stopping. I know you're getting another one very soon, hopefully as well. So you've just taken massive action. I really can't take. I'm not just saying this for the camera. I really can't take all credit for your achievements. I've kind of educated as best I can, met you halfway, but then you've also taken that baton and ran with it. So all credit goes to you, and I'm very proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you, PK.
Um, and thank you everyone for watching or listening. These episodes are meant to try to serve you, to educate you and inspire you. And there's more than 150 of these client interviews on my client results playlist on YouTube. And like I always say, honestly, don't mind if you do the course or don't do the course, but at least watch them, at least listen to them, because they're brilliant, brilliant, brilliant people like Abhi here that will, you know, that will just give you that advice, that inspiration to take that next, you know, piece of action, the next step in your own journey. And with or without me, you might find yourself in the situation with 8 properties, and that is good for you. Like, you know, when you win, I win. Just like when Abhi has won, then I feel that I've won. So yeah, hopefully this served you, and thank you once again, Abhi.
Thank you. Thanks, PK.